is nice to see you guys this morning. Wow, we got quite the few in here already. Melanie, it's nice to see you. Unicorn, Indiana. Amy M. Eeyores Blues. It's nice to see you. Rebecca, Dawn, Linda, Stephanie. It's nice to see you all this morning. Halston, Football Mom, Stephanie, 12 months. I wasn't prepared. Now, how am I supposed to sing when I'm not supposed to be prepared? I'm not prepared. No, I'm just joking. Stephanie is a year old. She has her birthday, her Bullhorn Betty birthday today. Stephanie Marla, happy birthday, my love. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Stephanie. Happy Bullhorn Betty birthday to you. Okay, she didn't like my low pitch. It's like, no, Mom, you're right in my ear. Nope. All right, Stephanie. Well, thank you for being with us for a solid year and many more. That's my big hug. Many more to come. Little Orange Man, me and you. I see you all in here this morning. It's nice to see you, Tracy, Frank. Good morning. And I will tell you that was a rough one because my pipes were fully not ready. Eeyore Blues, 7 months. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day so far. Back at you, love bug. Southern Grammy, it's nice to see you. Kendra, Mickey Shell, Donna, True Crime Junkie, Plant Lady. It's nice to see you, Kathleen, Michelle. Hey. I've seen you come in a couple times. I haven't said hi to you personally, I don't think. So I'm so sorry for missing you. TD Dean, it's nice to see you. Deanna, Kathleen. I think I said hi to you, Unicorn, but if I didn't, good morning, love bug. Chastity, Peggy, it's nice to see you. Looks like we might have another Kathleen in here. So it's nice to see you, PG, little girl. It's nice to have you. Good morning, Shirley. It's nice to see you this morning. Amanda, hey, love bug. I hope you're doing well. Carla, good morning. Rosalie, hello. Marie, it's nice to see you. It is so great. Happy Tuesday, everyone. We're past the Manic Monday, but we're on the Manic Tuesday. I was supposed to be in my accounting meeting this morning. I'm just, it's one of those things where I can't even think politics this week with everything going on, all the stuff, all the moving pieces. I've been bouncing all over the place this week, and it's only Tuesday. So I just wasn't prepared, and I had a lot. Now, before we get started on Jack and Lily's case, hey, Amy, we got another Amy. Detective Whiskers, good morning. It's nice to see you. Hello. If you guys are new to the show and you can't chat in the chat box, you have to be a subscriber for 24 hours. So if you hit that subscribe button tomorrow when we come in to have discussions, you will be able to have conversation with the coffee club. So we just control our chat here because these cases obviously attract some of the crazies of YouTube, and we like to have good conversations here. And if we have good conversations here, hopefully it'll drive something and help, bring awareness, and hopefully maybe get it in front of somebody that knows some information that can call some information in and help this case. And that's the ultimate goal. But before we get started, as many of you guys know, there was kind of a one-off video that I did on a preacher. His name's Lester Isbell. They have a protest going on right now. And I have to be honest with you, when I was watching these videos, my heart broke. Like, I couldn't, because we know that law enforcement's job is difficult. We don't want to unnecessarily ever beat up law enforcement. They already have a tough job. And it's just, what is it? It's free to subscribe. Yeah, it's free to subscribe. You don't have to be a member. I don't know what that is. It's just a subscription. But all the subscription, the only thing that you can that's paid is if you become a member. But subscribing on any type of channel on YouTube is free of charge for everybody. It just gives you the ability, and make sure that people that want to be here and want to chat are here and chat, right? People that just want to instigate and stuff like that, we just want to make sure that your viewing experience and chat experience is friendly, right? We don't need people. It's already a tough case. People have their opinions and they're all entitled to their opinions. What they're not entitled to is disrupting you, right? And you're the audience and you come here for information. And so we try to get as much accurate information out there, and we speculate, theorize, and other things, but we love being able to do that on a basis of fact. We don't do the wild conspiracy theory speculation and stuff. There's a lot of channels that do that. We just don't. We do speculate and we do theorize. So don't think that we don't do that. Of course we do. But we don't make up our own facts and then theorize on them, okay? Like the ninja theory for Sebastian Rogers case, okay? I did have a ninja theory, but it wasn't a wild, some government official coming in whatever. Okay, it's a little crazy, but we did have military trained parents involved in that case, so wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities in that case. But we like factual information, and there was some factual information that supported that maybe one of the parents that are military trained could have snuck back in their own house without raising any alarms or letting anybody know, and it's still possible. I'm sorry, it is. But anyways, Lester Isbell, he was a preacher. It sounded like he was having some type of anything with the heart or stroke or anything gets you disoriented. So does blood pressure, right? And I didn't know this, but I should have known this, but I didn't know this until later in life. I know it now. I've known it for many years, but blood sugar. I never realized how much blood sugar, whether it's high or low, affects your abilities. And so it's very interesting because this man was called in as medical. Law enforcement did show up, but he was called in as medical, as being, disoriented and elderly. And so how in the world he wound up in a jail and 9.5 hours later being deceased, where nobody checked on him for the entire time after having a head injury from falling in that very jail, it's beyond pale, and it's just very hard because we've got a lot of great officers, and this is what the world sees as law enforcement, and it's very, very sad that we cover true crime and we have things like this happening. It does happen more than you'd like to admit, more than you would like to think, and it's lack of training. It's lack of training and not having enough people in the jail. They have a statutory minimum typically that's required to be there. And so I feel like it's lack of training. And lack of training comes down to money. And again, another Tennessee community. Tennessee, the state of Tennessee, not that we're picking on the state of Tennessee, but the state of Tennessee is giving themselves a pat on the back and thinking that they're hot stuff when they're not. The state of Tennessee has a lot of work, especially in the area of law enforcement and children, period. But this is an elderly person, and this is on the other side, because that person is also very vulnerable, much like a child. Our elderly and our children are some of the most vulnerable of our population, and this one hits the elderly. What in the world would a law enforcement officer feel that a man that's disoriented, people were concerned about his well-being, deserves to be in jail for what? Walking into a payday loan confused? That's basically what they arrested him for. Being confused while making a payment. It's sick. It's sick. I'm very disappointed. And this was multiple people, as you guys could see in that video. I hope you guys go out and watch that video. It's a little under 9 minutes. And if you guys are in the area, please stop by, give the family a hug. let them know that you're there with them. Even if you can't stay there with them, let them know you support them. This is in Madisonville, Tennessee, Monroe County. Hopefully some of you guys do live in that community and can uplift this family. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. All right, so let's go on and get on into our topic of conversation, which is we have a new missing person, much like the Sebastian Rogers case when we had to put up missing person flyers for Miss Katie Proudfoot, right? Now we're going to have to start rolling out with the missing flyer posters for Malehya Brooks-Murray. It is very upsetting, the situation that we're in, but we're all theorizing. We're all taking the facts. The fact is the mom disappeared early on in the investigation, early on in the search, and hasn't done anything but changed her freaking status. She hasn't put a missing person flyer up on her page. She hasn't provided a statement or even forwarding or reposting the Royal Canadian Mounted Police's update. She's doing nothing to physically advocate for her children. She found out her children allegedly disappeared on May 2nd, and by May 3rd, she spoke to the media. The end of the afternoon, she got scared of something. Something spooked her. When she was at the meeting with law enforcement, she got into an ambulance. They checked her out. She left with family, and she has not been seen or heard from since. It is my understanding, based on the newest videos coming out, which if you guys haven't been over to my TikTok channel, I just dropped a brand new video on this specific case because there's something that's been unearthed thanks to Clutch the Pearls. I do watch that. I don't watch it as often as I'd like to because I'm in the middle of researching 2 major cases. And my time is even stretched thinner than it once was. Well, good morning, The Real Me Too. Oh, and that reminds me, I forgot to update you guys. Let's just take a time out. We'll wrap back into Malehya in just a second. So we had some great news. Many of you guys heard about Melanie's good news. You know, she was very, very concerned about having some serious issues and serious complications she may have had to address and deal with. And thank goodness what they were concerned it was not. Now, we all love our beautiful mod, Sonia. I'm wearing her shirt that she thought of me. Didn't even realize yesterday she had back surgery. I thought it was today. So I reach out to her first thing this morning, tell her she's going to do great. You know, God's got this. We're all going to be praying for her. And she let me know that it was yesterday. And I said, well, God answered my prayers. He was really quick on that one. So, you know, you look at the positive of everything. But the good news is that she is doing great. She has, she's out of surgery. She was talking to me this morning, probably wondering if I have dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that. But I do not. I had an unexpected trip yesterday. And so I ended up going there. I know I told you guys that I was going to the doctor's, but I wasn't. So I did that because I had to do that. I don't typically like being dishonest with my audience, but sometimes I have to be because everybody watches me, and sometimes you just can't tell everybody what you're doing. But when you guys see me driving, you know I'm going somewhere because I'm usually here, you know, at least for the last year and a half. Usually I'm never home. I remember there was a time when my electric bill was literally base rate $30 because I have electric here, but I wasn't home for like 2 months. My water was the lowest it had ever been. My electric was the lowest it had ever been because nothing was running in the house. But now we're here, so everything's a lot more expensive. But Sonia is doing really well. I thought you guys would like to know that. She is by far, she does so much for the true crime community, even with her shirt business. Like, she sent me this, and she sent Delilah this beautiful little dress. Look at that, isn't that cute? It's backwards for you, but it says high maintenance. It says high maintenance. It's so cute. It's a little summer dress. You guys got to remember her. If you guys have little animals, tell me that is not stinking adorable. You need to reach out to her for some custom-made fur baby clothing, right? but she's doing really well. I'm sure she's in a lot of pain, and I was bugging her after surgery and didn't even realize it. I thought I was giving her some flower power to get through the surgery well, and here I am waking her up at 6:30 in the morning a day after surgery. Gotta love Betty, right? Gotta love Betty. She's in such great spirits. So anyways, getting back on to the story of Lilly and Jack. As you guys know, we all kind of feel like in our gut that we know law enforcement believes the children are not with us, okay? But it's hard in our gut to believe, here we go again. It's like, again, it seems like the same story that we say over and over again. The only thing we change is our thumbnails in the precious faces, and that kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. And it's like, when we hear the alarming statistics, like, 90% of these children that disappear are, it's known to them. The people are known to them. It's not stranger danger. But what were we taught in school? We were taught to tell about the strangers in our life. Oh, thank you, Dreamin' blue skies and sandy beaches. Thank you so much. I love it. A Sunday. You're making me hungry. That's just not fair. Just not fair. But it's hard because we're on Sebastian Rogers' case, which is a very contentious and just insane circus of a case that it has become. And then we go to this case, and it's like, kind of, here we go again. But you're looking, it's like at this point I'm searching very hard for this mysterious person or this mysterious circumstance. And the more you look at the case, the more you realize that most likely is not the reality. The reality of this case is that these children are missing. Oh, thank you, Melanie. Melanie gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. Mickey Shell, it's official. It's official. Mickey Shell got the donated, why can't I say donated? Gifted Bullhorn Betty membership, if I can speak this morning. So welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Mickey Shell is officially another insane true crime podcaster seeking the truth. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room. We're going to put you down the way because I know you snore. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking, Mickey Shell. Oh, it's cute. Oh, SPED teacher. Hey, love. I hope you're doing well. Deborah, it's nice to see you. She's such a sweet soul in my prayers. She is. She's the best. She is absolutely the best. So this is kind of where this whole thing is going with Mom MIA, because Daniel just recently spoke out, which I think we covered it on a video. We may have discussed it live about how he addressed the whole party, drug house type of thing. And so something that a lot of online sleuths have questioned is the information about the huge party being held at the house the night before or 2 nights before the children were reported missing. This information came from someone claiming to be the neighbor living in just a few kilometers away. A neighbor describing seeing a large party either Wednesday or Thursday night and cars stretched all the way down the street. They didn't even know that the children lived at the house. They thought it was a substance abuse house. Many were questioning whether one of these guests at the party took the opportunity and took the children. I think we brought that up as well. We never knew whether this piece of information was true or not, and we here on the Bullhorn Betty channel actually decided to remove it, citing that we can't corroborate it, and it's a piece that we can't put into a puzzle on a factual. Now, it can be part of our theory or part of our speculation, but it can't be part of our fact basis because there is no factual corroborating information about this party. So we've removed that. Many were questioning whether these guests, oh yeah, I already read that. It could just be someone looking for attention, and it could very well be, and that's what we had discussed previously as well. It wouldn't be the first time to hear a complete stranger making up an untrue story about a missing child for attention. Daniel, the stepfather, deciding to speak out and clarify it, he said that there is no drug house there, and that what people are saying and what's being rumored and passed around is absolute nonsense. Who would we believe? Do we believe them or do we believe the other person? In all fairness, I don't know who the other person is. I don't know if the other person even exists. We don't know where that information came from. So in a situation like this, I'm going to trust my gut and say that until more information comes out, we have to remove that house party. And therefore, if I have to remove the house party, I'm kind of leaning toward believing Daniel in the fact that there most likely was not this huge house party where, cars were stretched down the road. Not only that, but law enforcement is seeking out video, right? They're seeking out trail cameras and other types of video surveillance that people have on their homes or businesses or in the trees to look at the wildlife. And I think that they're going to be able to identify, because if there's an unlarge amount of cars coming, in a direction, you could assume somebody is having a larger gathering, especially if for the last 5 days there's only 20 cars passing through. And this particular day you had 50 cars pass through. That's a big uptick in traffic on those specific days. Now, granted, they may not be able to specifically see their house, but there's a road that goes in that area and a road that goes out of that area. And certainly there is a camera that points to that road that can count cars coming into the area. It's a long process, but this is what detective work is all about. This is kind of some of the stuff that they have to do. Sometimes they just have to look at the video and get a piece of paper and say 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars, and just count them as they're driving by on this video. Sometimes it's just like that. For accuracy, right? You need to find out. And when you don't know, you've got to be knowledgeable. Even the stuff that seemingly doesn't make sense or doesn't gel, you have to know. Daniel, the stepfather, decided to speak out to clarify about it being absolute nonsense. I don't think there's any camera footage showing the movements in and out of the house in the days before the children vanished. Daniel also clarified they were the ones seen on May 1st. We do know that they were in New Glasgow. It's kind of the city to, if you guys know of any rural county or you live near a rural county, all those people that come from that rural county to your area to buy groceries, it's kind of similar like that from Lansdowne Station to New Glasgow. It sounds like the malls, the shopping centers, all of the stuff that they need is 20 minutes away in town in New Glasgow. So the way I kind of think about it is, we have Myakka City here in Manatee County. It's about like Myakka City. Myakka City would be Lansdowne, and Bradenton would be New Glasgow. So people would have to come in from, the rural area into town to get groceries and other necessities, and then, go back out to their property. And that's kind of what they do here in Myakka. But there's, of course, over the years, Myakka's gotten built up a lot bigger than it once was. But they had nothing but one old general country store out there. So he acknowledged that it was them, the whole family, Malehya, him, their youngest daughter, Meadow, and then the 2 missing children, Lilly and Jack Sullivan. So now that we know the children were seen on camera footage on May 1st, police are asking for more footage dating all the way back to April 28th. This might be to find out whether there truly was a party there or not, because of the stuff that we talked about. There may be some other information that might be in here, but I find it interesting that Daniel doesn't want to say where they were. I think that's odd. He said it may go into the integrity of the investigation. I don't believe that law enforcement is telling him not to say, or that that particular movement would go to the integrity of the investigation, because in my opinion, if they believe somebody was following them, then that would be supporting the abduction theory, which we know for a fact the Royal Canadian Mounted Police has absolutely, on multiple fronts, multiple occasions throughout the time that they've known about this case, been searching for Lilly and Jack, they have stayed on their platform, standed very much that they do not believe that this is an abduction. Those are strong words from law enforcement. They're not going to dismiss a path forward with an abduction if they truly believed there was an abduction. They're saying there's no abduction here. There's something that they have that makes them believe that there is no possibility of abduction when it comes to these children cases, which only leave us two paths forward. They wandered off, or there's foul play. There's not a whole lot that can go into this case other than that. Oh, Grave Crime with Grace gifted 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership, please don't forget to tell Grave Crime with Grace thank you, and God bless you, Grave Crime with Grace. And for those that are now members of this crazy crew we call the Coffee Club, welcome to the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket, your padded room, and welcome aboard. We're getting full up in the house. Full, I tell you. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. So they're going all the way back to April 28th. It may be to validate whether there was a party at their house or not, because there are rumors. Now that there are rumors, they must investigate it. So they have to. My dog likes chewing up tissue, and I just looked down, and I guess one must have floated because it was right there on my shirt. I try to get it away from her. She tears them into little shreds. What can I do? And also, police say there's no evidence at all, none, to support an abduction theory. Now, how were they able to determine that so quickly? Now, one thing about the Canadian law enforcement is they do things a little bit different, not totally different, but a little bit different. You know, what they say, what they hold back, what they're allowed to express and stuff is a little bit different than what we're accustomed to here in the United States of America, but not by much. And so when law enforcement, when there's rumors or a tip called in, that's why I always tell people, unless you truly have information relevant, don't call it in. Even if it's speculative, even if you think that this may really help, if you've never met these people and you really don't have any direct information, when you call in leads that they may have already dismissed or stuff, or you may say something a little new, they've got to stop what they're doing and now go down that road. And maybe that's exactly what you want them to do. But at what point is it a hindrance on the case? At what point is it a hindrance on law enforcement? And at what point does it start weighing that down? Because you got to think that if you're calling with that thought, right, because you don't know these people, you really don't have any firsthand knowledge, you don't have any facts on your side, or can't even help them produce any facts to help them with the case, when you call, you're not the only person thinking that. You still got another 1,000 people that are just like you, that come across the same exact thing, that are also now calling in, because this is a national and international case. So if you're thinking it, there's probably another 1,000 or 2,000 people or more around this world that are also thinking it, and also may decide to pick up the phone and call. Now you have the phone calling in, you'll have 100 or 200 phone calls for the same exact information. And that's where that weighting down of the case, because that takes a lot of personnel to field those calls. So we really try to encourage our audience, if you do have something that is weighing on your mind, send it by email, send it to something where they can review it, and instead of putting out facts, maybe make it more question based. If you don't know or you think this might happen, give them some supporting evidence in that email. But try to limit as much as possible those phone calls. I like the phone calls being open to the people that have the most direct knowledge of the case. Other things can be handled in other ways that are that take less personnel and less immediate time in a fluid case. So I just wanted to explain that. It's not that I'm beating people up about it. It's just I want you to play the tape through. If you're thinking this, just like when we come across a case, for example, that 32-year-old man that was held hostage in his house by his stepmother since he was 11 years old, right? Bizarre case. But we know in the back of our mind, if it happened to him, there's other people in this country, just by the law of large numbers, that there's somebody else in his exact same predicament somewhere else in this country waiting to be found. And so I feel the same way with the tips. When you hear something, well, you got 1,500 people in that chat. How many of those 1,500 people are also going to be calling in that same lead? So it really does weigh down. I don't want to go too much on this soapbox, but I just wanted to explain why I say things the way I say them. It's not that I don't think your opinions are important or that law enforcement needs them. I just think that when it comes to theorizing, I think law enforcement has the theorizing down pat. It's the collection of evidence to support the theorizing that, needs to happen. So I don't want to get on that soapbox yet. I wonder if they're trying to piece together information from anyone strange coming in and out of the location that the children were reported missing from. However, police are also saying there's no evidence of an abduction. The RCMP updates are vague at times, and they were vague even in the Idaho 4. We were holding on to every word. We were reanalyzing every public press release. We were analyzing everything when it comes to the Idaho 4. And in this particular case, they're saying there's no evidence of the abduction and they're ultra vague. So what does that mean? I don't know. And it's to preserve the integrity of the investigation, of course. I'll just finish reading this because it does finish off my thoughts that I was holding on to. But it says it's becoming frustrating to the public who are hoping for answers in the case. And I guess that's probably the best way to put it. It's frustrating to us. We want to know what happened to these children. We want to know if the parents did something, right? At the end of the day, can a parent hurt a child? We know it's possible. Did they hurt their child? We don't know that answer. That's the problem. We have no answers. We have our assumption. Our assumptions are leading us to believe for a variety of reasons, and we're going to go over one of those reasons here in just a second. And that's the children's mother is still missing in action. She's not speaking to media. She is lawyered up, and she has not attended one candlelight vigil for her children. It's like the Chris and Katie playbook. And nobody is going to be able to convince me that they did not have a hand in their son's disappearance. Nobody's going to be able to convince me of that. Anything short of another person being charged and arrested. Nobody's going to be able to convince me of that. And that's all behavior based, right? And so we look at behaviors as red flags. When we all know that when we were raised, when we were going to school, it doesn't matter whether you went to school in China, whether you went to school in Canada, whether you went to school in Mexico, or whether you went to school in the United States of America. We have all learned about the fight or flight mechanism. We've all learned about it. It is something that's not unique. Well, I guess it's unique to the human species, to the mammal species. I'll say that, to the mammal species, because even dogs and cats, they fight or flight as well, right? they fight or flight as well. Sometimes you can tree a dog, sometimes you can tree a cat, but I think it's the mammal's species, okay, or whatever, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not smarter than a fifth grader. You guys can correct me all day long. It doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be perfect. Just saying. But we go through these behaviors, and when I start seeing parents run off, because the fight or flight mechanism in us is typically reserved for dangerous situations, when we have fear. Okay? Fear. People typically don't fight or flight when they're having cake or ice cream, right? Unless they're allergic to cake and ice cream, and they will have anaphylactic shock and they do not have an EpiPen. Maybe they'll run away from cake then. But the bottom line is people don't typically run away unless they're in fear of something. It could be fear of bodily harm. It could be fear of being injured. It could be fear of being revealed, being exposed. There's a lot of actions for the fight or flight mechanism to kick in. But in my opinion, it's mostly a fear-based mechanism. So why would she leave if not fearful? Mom isn't going to involvement, Indians sticking with family. My thoughts. Yeah, I the Indian reservations, has got me as well. It's got me as well. But she's not out in the forefront pleading for her children. I don't know any parent that truly believed that their children were abducted, not pleading to an abductor. I feel, and it was somewhere, and I can't seem... There was one statement, I'm trying to find it, but I haven't been able to find it yet. And I think it basically states that, maybe is it this one? Is it this one here? That basically feels like the reason why she's leaving, why this separation, is because she's going to be throwing Daniel under the bus when everything is revealed. That's why it was such swift action. They may have been a united front when this started. Her family came down. Her family lives, you go back to her age 16 video. They lived in a nice home. She looked like she was well taken care of. It sounds like she lived an amazing life, had a lot of pets, had a lot of acreage, had a horse, was able to ride a horse, that kind of lifestyle. It sounds like her parents took care of her. I can't imagine her mom's shock of coming to their home and seeing her, the way she's living now, especially the ways that she was raised. And so we know that there's substance abuse, this animal injury. Could this have been the start of that substance abuse? We see all too often where young children, are young, I shouldn't call them children, they're teenagers / getting into adulthood, but they're young and they get into like a car wreck or something, and they go to a doctor, and the doctor prescribes them medication. And they don't back then there's a lot of people, especially 2011, 2013 in that area, that were prescribing very highly addicted pharmaceuticals at alarming numbers to people, and they got addicted to those substances with no way to get off of them. And we all know this because this story is not unique. this has happened all over the country. We were all part of this. My area here in Manatee County was the epicenter of Florida. People, like alarming numbers, 20, 30 people a weekend would just be gone. Just gone. It was just, it was insane. I had never seen something so crazy in my life. And I just keep wondering, was that the start? Because you see such a sweet, curious, like doting Malehya. She just seems so innocent, and the love of animals, love of creativity, love of the arts, tattoos and stuff like that. And just seeing her and knowing that, 12 years later, how different her life is going to be. And if you look back and you look at our own lives, 12 years does a lot to somebody. It changes somebody. The person she was 12 years ago is not the same person we're looking out in front of that trailer talking about her children just wandering off. It's just not. Something has happened to Malehya. Something bad. She doesn't even look the same. Just from 2 years ago, before she met Daniel. And another thing is, there was another video on this list of videos, and I swear she must have this, this, like we all have our, like what we like in a guy, right? Like whether they're tall, slender, built, country. Some people just want a country boy, but we all have our little, I guess, likings of whatever. But when she was showing this from 2013, there was one of her boyfriend playing, and I swear my hand to God, from the side it looked like a spitting image of Daniel. I couldn't tell the haircut and everything. It looked like Daniel from the side. But they weren't dating back then. They didn't start dating until like 3 years ago. But she definitely has a kind, like what her boyfriends all look the same or something. I'm sorry. It looked like him from the side. I'm like, is that Daniel? I'm looking at the time, I'm like, no, that can't possibly be Daniel. Is that the kids' children? And I'm thinking, I don't know if it's them either, because they're only 6 years old. This stuff was from 12 years ago. So she wasn't even thinking of children when she had. But I'm telling you, the kid playing that Guitar Hero, whatever, he looked like Daniel from the side. I had to take a double. I had to process it. I'm like, were they together that long? And I'm like, no, they can't be. These aren't his children, and I had to process it. It took just 30 seconds, but it felt like eternity as I'm processing this information. But it wasn't. So she has a kind, she's got a kind. She likes a specific boyfriend. I think she likes the slender, look with the pokey up hairy thingy there. Raven Sunstar, amazing, you Betty lady are one of the only one has caught that or said that. Thank you. Yeah, it did. It looks, she's got a kind. I don't know, what do they call it? A guy? I don't know. A type? She has a type. Okay? Yeah, a type. There we go. As you wish. Thank you. Sometimes these things just don't pop out. I know what I'm trying to say. It's just the brain and the mouth aren't cooperating. So yes, she has a type. And it looked just like Daniel. And this is from 2013. So anyways, I'm going to be dropping some of those videos. But I didn't even know they could have YouTubes at 16 or create videos. But I guess it happens. And it looked like her brother had gotten a hold of her phone and did a video. The last video on her channel looks like it's her brother. And we've also heard about her brother and the trouble he's caused since being an adult as well. So it sounds like these kids went down a path. What led them to this path? It sounds like they're both struggling with substances. I don't know. Oh, it's me, Jen, gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership from It's Me, Jen, tell her thank you. Thank you, love bug, and God bless you. And for the person that received it, welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. So now I think the next topic of conversation is going to be, is Malehya throwing Daniel under the bus? What do they know? Because I'm looking at Daniel. Daniel, he's hitting some of the boxes a lot of the boxes in the right. He's out there. He's not discouraged by interviews. We had him holding photos of them. But there are things that are problematic. He's used past tense. He's not begging to an abductor. He's not trying to talk to the children. There are some things that aren't sitting right with me. The substance abuse is a huge factor because, like I said, how do we get terrible people doing terrible things? Or I should say good people that turn to terrible people to do terrible things. There are three things. Home violence is probably the lowest on the totem pole, believe it or not, is home violence. Substance abuse and alcohol, in my opinion, are the two top contenders. Then falls on the spousal abuse. But I digress. It's usually 1, 2, or all three of those. But that's how you take a great person and turn them into a terrible person, and how we get into situations like this. We know that substances are involved in this case. I'm not hearing a whole lot about alcohol, but we're hearing substances are involved in this case. Substances tear families apart. Okay? That's it. It's fun at first until you get hooked and they tear families apart. People do things they wouldn't normally do. People sleep longer. People will sleep an entire 24 hours with a brand new baby that needs to be fed every 2 hours. That's how we get into situations like this. Do they mean to affect their children? No, but their substances issues are affecting their children by proxy, by them abusing themselves. Is this the situation we're dealing with here? I don't know. I just don't believe the parents. I don't believe the parents. I just don't. And it seems a little sus that the RCMP refuses to acknowledge a possibility of an abduction. That tells me a lot. It's not like the RCMP is a horrible investigative body, just like the United States police and sheriff's offices across the country. They're not bad. There's a lot of mistakes, and that's what people don't understand. Early mistakes in these types of cases are crucial. They're crucial, and they cause such massive delays, and why we advocate so hard to follow the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and their protocols. Has the RCMP made mistakes in this? Thank you, Jen. Thank you. I appreciate that. Of course they have. There is not one case that I have ever covered, even before I was in true crime, that is perfect. Okay? We have humans running the cases, humans being investigated in the cases. A whole lot of human error is mixed in that. All we beg is that hopefully the human error is not so critical that it jeopardizes the case. But is there going to be problems? Of course there's going to be problems. That's why we have defense attorneys. They hone in on those imperfect investigations, and they're all imperfect. So we need to remove this perfection lens, just like we need to remove that law enforcement are some superhumans. Law enforcement are human beings that make human being mistakes just like everybody else. Are they doing it intentionally? That's what we need to be looking at more so than did they do it. Of course they're going to do it. They're humans. You're not perfect. Can you imagine being, having all your... Can you imagine if all of our shortcomings were, front and center on social media for everybody to view? You probably wouldn't like that, too much. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm not going to beat up law enforcement bodies for not doing a perfect investigation, because I'd be arguing with every single law enforcement across this country and across this world. But we do have standards that shouldn't be omitted. such as turning a home into a crime scene, turning the last spot that child was seen into a crime scene, turning their bedroom into a crime scene, collecting DNA evidence, doing the forensic testing that's necessary. Is it expensive? Is it costly? Yes, it is. But you know what? The more we order supplies in bulk, the cheaper the cost will be. And every single year, the costs on these supplies keep going down because there's more and more of a market for it. Supply and demand, right? Stuff that used to cost us ungodly amounts of money are costing us less and less on this type of front than once before. So there's no excuse outside of budgetary issues, but all the money that we pissed away on all these illegal immigrations, all this stuff that we have to do now, spending all the money to pay for law enforcement across this country to round them up and kick them out, I think it's all a waste, a whole hot mess of wasted money for the taxpayers here in our country. Now, this case isn't in our country. But the point I'm trying to make is we piss away a lot of money, no matter what country we're in. Just piss it away. And people don't seem to have a problem with it. But when you talk about taking that money and utilizing it for a purpose, then they're wanting to talk about cost and expense and all this other stuff. Who cares? We waste money all day. Quit wasting money over here and start wasting it over here. That's the way I fix the problem. Move the line item. Because I'd rather be wasting a whole host of money on DNA testing kits than I would be on taking care of people that can take care of themselves. Just saying. My opinion. Just how I think. So we should just give it to the rich instead. I don't care who gets, just as long as you whoever pulls out the money just for forensic testing for these kids, because it's the forensic testing that costs so much money in these cases. It's the one thing they really don't want to do unless they absolutely have to, but it's one of the things that they should do whether they have to or not. So it's, I don't know. There's no good fix on this line, but at the end of the day, I think anybody from the age of 16 or under, if they are missing, they deserve they deserve forensic testing. Okay? If law enforcement truly wants to wait a week or 2 weeks before they do it, fine. But I think it should be done within 30 days. I think it should be done within 30 days. Oh, Lisa B. Always gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received your gifted Bullhorn Betty membership, don't forget to tell Lisa B. Always thank you. And welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club. The Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket and your padded room. And forget about it. What is that? I can't even see the emoji. Oh, is that like the Zen thingy? Yeah. Forget about it. Oh, good gracious. All right, guys. So that's really is all I have. Mom's MIA, and we need to start. Sorry, but the factual basis is the mom left on May 3rd and has never returned. They've had searches all the way until May 7th. They had searches on May 8th and 9th, even after they said they were scaling back on the 7th. They had more searches on the 17th and 18th. They just had new searches over this last weekend. And mom is MIA. Why? Because the fight or flight mechanism, if you don't believe me, and send me some emails. bullhornbetty@gmail.com if you disagree with my statement or you agree with it. But usually the fight or flight mechanism is kicked in during a fear. Some sort of fear. So what is Malehya fearful of that she ran away? That's the question I think we need to be asking. Anyways, guys, thank you for being here. I'm Bullhorn Betty. I cover true crime. We are covering the case of Lilly and Jack Sullivan. And please, please, please keep the family of Lester Isbell in your thoughts and prayers today. And check out that video. I know it's very disturbing to watch. It's hard to see a grandfather and a pastor being treated the way he was being treated. And guys, those were the clips I could show you without being hit by. Those were the clips I could show you. There are other clips that I could not show you. Okay? So I just want to put that out there to you. That was horrible. and justice needs to be had, and people need to be held accountable. It does look that way, but I'm just going to keep that down to a minimum. I don't know what happened to him. I just know what I watched was highly disturbing for me, and that needs to go viral. And it doesn't seem like a whole lot of people are, we gravitate toward children. I get it, but we have a lot of work to do on all fronts. And so if you guys could help me out and pass that around and get his story out, that would be amazing, because his story needs to be told. If it's happening in Madisonville, Tennessee, there's other places it's also happening in. And we need to be in the know, because this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable in Tennessee. It's unacceptable in Nova Scotia. It's unacceptable in California. It's unacceptable in Florida. It's unacceptable in Thailand. Okay? It's unacceptable. So, avocation is key to what we do. All right, guys, thank you for being here. We will see you soon. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. And I know we were supposed to have call session. I haven't had the time to set it up. I found out late last week that something was going on yesterday that I wanted to be there and be supportive of. And so everything kind of got pushed back, and it kind of really jumbled the schedule. And now today my schedule is jumbled. So I'm trying to get everything unjumbled. So hopefully this week we can have the phone call session. But definitely want to get that rolled out as soon as possible. I know you guys always enjoy it. Always enjoy being able to speak to me directly and speaking to the audience directly. So we'll try to get that set up, and I'll let you guys know the new date and time as soon. But I'm not going to keep kicking the can, and it just is starting to annoy me. So I don't have time today. I know that. So we're just going to have to kick the can, but I'm not going to tell you when until I know when I can actually have the call-in session uninterrupted. So that's kind of where we're at. Anyways, I love you guys. Have a great day. And tomorrow we'll be coming back, and it'll be hump day. But we should have a few more lives and videos throughout the day. I'm working on another video about Lilly and Jack and some other information that I just found out. That should be rolled out here in the next several hours. I try to update this case every 2 to 3 hours. So if you're not here on the Bullhorn Betty channel, you will always be missing out. Talk to you later.